grading, am I right? I know. Grading can be this big, huge pain in the butt. But what if you got the pattern with the sizes that you thought you were gonna need, but you still need to increase the size by like just one more size and you don't have it? Or what if you got the wrong size and you need it to go 2 sizes down? Do you really have to be a master at grading and learn all the intricacies of grading? Because let me tell you, grading can be very tricky and is not usually a quick down and dirty thing. But there is an easier way to do grading in some situations that I want to share with you today for Tricky Thursday. So come on, let's go check it out. Hello and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. My name is Trisha. I call myself your pattern nerd friend, and I am the owner of Creative Costume Academy. I have decided it's my mission to help those of you who want to know about pattern making, want to know about fitting, want to know about grading, but you felt like it was too complicated, it was too hard, you've tried it before, it didn't work for you, you don't want to go to school forever, but you want to make designs that actually fit you. So I've decided there's got to be a fun, easy way that we can all learn pattern making and take control of this superpower and make clothes that we love. That's what I'm all about here at my channel. If you are new here, you haven't already subscribed, please hit that subscribe button because I would love to share more with you. This really helps me get out to more people and help those, because we should all be learning this superpower and it is available for everyone. Now, today we're gonna be talking about grading. If you're not sure what grading is, or you're like, what? Grading what? Like A, B, C, I got an A on my test? No. Grading is where you take one base size of a pattern, a sewing pattern, and you grade it out to bigger or smaller sizes. In vintage patterns, like the ones I have on my wall, because pattern nerd, remember? They used to only come in one size when you bought a pattern. And so you would have to find the size that was your size. And then what happens if you're between sizes? Gotta know how to do your own patterns. Well, nowadays they make life a little simpler. You will be able to get a pattern a lot of times with 3 or even up to 5 sizes with a lot of these patterns. And especially now, even more convenient, you can get them digital files and print them at home with multiple sizing. So it makes it extra easy. If you are between sizes, you can blend between sizes. And I have done a video about that in the past as well. So that makes it a lot easier. And it also makes grading a little bit easier with this trick I'm going to share with you today. Even though you can now buy multiple sizes of most of the patterns that are out there available for commercial sizing, you still might need it to be 1 or 2 sizes more, or 1 or 2 sizes smaller, or you accidentally bought the wrong size, or you're in between sizes between the size options that they give you in the store. It happens all the time. So to do actual grading, to take one size and multiply it into many different sizes, that is actually its own skill. And when I found this out, when I had some things graded and when I was learning about grading myself, in the fashion industry, oftentimes it is 2 different positions. You have the pattern maker and you have the grader. And I always thought that, the pattern maker knows grading and the grader knows pattern making. It's typically the grader is only focused on grading the sizes, taking a medium and turning that into an extra small, having the medium still, large, extra large, whatever, however many sizes you want. That is their sole job. So they are really good at it. And the reason for that is that it takes a different skill to know how much to grade in specific areas, how to make it so it's proportionally makes sense to the body, because we don't incrementally get bigger in every direction. So it is very difficult to grade a garment, and there's a lot of little intricacies, and there's limits to how far you can go in certain areas, all of these things before you just start to distort the design, right? And a good grader will know all of these things. But a pattern maker typically will work out the size for their fit model, for their average size. You want to pick usually a size in the middle to start with your first pattern, and you perfect the design and the fit in that size. So that's the pattern maker's job, is to make sure that the pattern fits the way you want it, the design looks the way you want it. Then that pattern that is perfect will, or how you want it to be, will then be sent to a grader who can grade it into the multiple sizes. A lot of us don't maybe want to take that step, or we're not in a position where we have that much time. It's not that serious. We're trying to make a garment to fit ourselves for the weekend maybe, right? So I do use a simplified version of that system, because a lot of times professional graders will be using a computer, and we don't all have access to that software either. So I have learned to do grading by hand, and I use that a lot in my costume business, because a lot of times we are making similar costumes for multiples of different sizes and whatnot. But that's a little bit more customized. That is a longer process than most people will have time for or will want to take. So I've recently learned this simplified grading technique that will enable you to grade up or down a couple of sizes using these multiple layered patterns that you have. So I wanted to share that with you in case this comes in handy, because it's a really super handy trick. And I think it would be very valuable that you don't have to really break your brain about. So I'm going to show you over on the table. I have a pattern that we're going to look at and learn this simplified grading method. And we're doing this because it's Tricky Thursday. Tricky Thursday is the day where I share tips and tricks with you that I've learned along the way that I think will help you in your journey to get those patterns to be exactly what you want them to be. Let's go to the table and dive in. This technique only works if you are starting with a pattern that already has multiple sizes. Otherwise, you'd have to do more of a traditional grading technique. But the only other things that you're gonna need is a small piece of paper. I'm gonna use a Post-it for this, and a writing implement tool. I'm gonna use a marker just so you can see, but I would probably use a pencil if I was doing this. So I like the Post-its because I could just fold it in half and have a nice clean edge. And because of the stickiness, it kind of stays together, and it gives me a little bit of a thicker edge to deal with. So talking more about what grading is, you can see this smaller size of the sleeve is this dashed line on the inside, and then the next size for the size medium is that next line in the middle, and then the biggest size is the solid line on the outside. Now, if you notice, when we're looking at the grade, up here at the cap of the sleeve, you can see it looks like it's a little bit more than where it is graded over here. And then if we look down at the bottom, this looks like it's graded a little bit less in between. These lines are closer together than they are up here or up the cap of the sleeve. So how do you know? You don't just add, a half inch all the way around to make this bigger, or go the other way, making it smaller. That's not going to be what works. So this handy little tool works out really well. And all you want to do is you want to go to different points on the pattern. And corners are really good. We can go to where the notches are and where the cap is. I'll show you that. But you want to line up. So corners are good because you can line up the sizes with this paper. I can line them up all three corners, and I'm gonna just put a dot at each of those corners on all the sizes. And the way that this works, oh my gosh, it's gonna be so easy. You're not even gonna know. I'm gonna slide this down. I'm gonna keep the angle. So notice, like, my paper is still hitting all of these points, but do you notice how now this point here in the middle, the one that used to be up on the top, is not quite lining up with that middle size? If you look close enough, and we can see it more on the cap when I do that in a sec, the size difference between the small and the medium is smaller than the size difference between the medium and the large. And sometimes that will happen, especially if you have bigger or more size grades, then you'll notice the smaller sizes are a little bit closer together and the bigger sizes are farther apart. It's just because that's how it works with the grading. Usually when you get into bigger sizes, the size jumps, like the measurement numbers jump more. So we're not too worried about that. As long as our paper is hitting all of the points, and this middle point, we're gonna assume that going down smaller, we're gonna have the same, going down the same amount. Now where this point is here, this would be the point of that smaller size if I was gonna go smaller. And then I would do the same thing going the other way. Like, I'm gonna line up these points again. Notice how that's still lined up. And then I'm gonna shift up and put that middle dot now on the biggest size. And yes, we noticed that my smaller size now doesn't line up with my medium, but that's okay. We're not concerned with that. We're just going to put a dot at our bigger size. So now we have graded this corner up and down really simply. And you basically want to do that in all of these areas. So I'm going to fold this so I can do this same process again because it's different at every different place. So I can do this. I'll line up my triangles, right? I have something I can line them up with. So I'm going to put a dot at each size, and then I'm going to go down, keeping in the row with these triangles, my little notches, and I'm gonna put a dot that is a smaller size, and then I'm gonna go the other direction and get the larger size. So now I have a smaller and a larger where that point of the triangle is going to hit. Actually, it's up here, this point of that triangle. Then let's look at the cap really quickly and do the same thing. So let's line it up with maybe where these letters are. So I have a mark here, a mark here, and a mark here. And if I go down, I've got all my letters lined up, then I can see where that is gonna be. And then I'm gonna do the opposite and go up. And I'm kind of off the paper, but we'll just pretend it's there. So what this does is, and you can do it, you know, at this little dot here, but this gives me an idea of the next size up. And the next size down. Let's do one more on this sleeve. And this works for sleeves, for bodice pieces, for skirts, for anything really. I'm gonna fold this the other way and we can see, okay, we've got a much smaller grade here. So I'm gonna do it this way so we can see. Down here at the wrist. So I'm gonna again mark my dots because I have something to line up to. Then I'm gonna go down a size so that my middle dot is now at my small. And then I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna go up a size where that my middle dot is now at the larger size. Then by having that in there, I can connect from the cap that I just graded. Boom. So now in just a matter of minutes, you guys watched me do it. I now have a smaller size sleeve, and of course I would have to do the other side of the sleeve, but I also have a larger size sleeve. So now I have 5 sizes off of this one pattern that started with just 3. And I didn't need to get into all the specifics of grading. Super cool, huh? Just a Post-it and a writing implement. Wow, am I right? It makes it so much easier. We did that in a matter of minutes. Trust me, it's a much quicker process than doing an actual grade up and down. Boom, I wish I would have known this years ago. It would have saved me so much time. But I hope that it helps you, which is the whole point of me sharing these Tricky Thursdays with you, so that you will be able to make the patterns that you want super fast, and it can be fun and easy. Thank you so much for joining me for this tip today. If you are interested in learning more about pattern making, please check out my free pattern masterclass, which is located in the link down below. It's completely free. It kind of teaches you my different approach to learning pattern making, because we do things a little differently around here. We like to have fun and get right to it. And if you already have been following me for a while and you're like, I'm ready, let's dive in, I'm ready to start learning, you can check out my Pattern Making Academy. This is actually a pattern making school owned by the amazing Mimi G Style, where she has her Sew It Academy. This is the pattern making version, and I am your lead instructor. You have tons of fun. It's a really low monthly rate. You can pause or cancel at any time. So if you're ready to get going, that is the best place to start. You can learn more about that at learnpatternmaking.com. That link is also listed below. And until then, please join me back for our Tricky Thursdays that we have here on YouTube, because I love sharing these tips and tricks with you. That's all we have for today. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.